Joao Felix has shocked us yet again as news has come out. He is set to sign for Al Nassr over Benfica. So in my video today, I want to discuss the news, but I want to share my thoughts and feelings with Felix. Why didn't he make it at Chelsea for the second time? So if you guys want to get involved in this conversation, this is probably the best video for that. Hope you guys enjoy. And let's tackle all things Joao Felix. I think we start things off by getting the news story out the way, because this news surprised all of us. All of us felt like Joao Felix was set to sign for Benfica, right? I think Benfica thought this themselves. Benfica thought that they were going to agree a deal by buying 50% of his economic rights up to the value of 25 million euros. Now, I think on paper, this could have been a deal that we accepted, because similar to how FC Porto signed Samu from Atletico Madrid, you know, they paid for half his value the first year. They've now completed a signing this season. It could have been a similar situation for Benfica, who weren't only just signing Joao Felix to be the face of this new rebuild, but he was also an investment opportunity, because if he was a success with Benfica, they would have sold him for more money, or maybe sold him to Saudi. That was the entire plan around this. So the fact that Al Nassr came in at the 11th hour and secure their man, I can't help but feel like this is definitely Cristiano Ronaldo and Jorge Mendes, who already have a super close relationship. And I think Cristiano Ronaldo gave that phone call saying, listen, Joao, come to Al Nassr. I can promise you two things. Number one, you're going to be a very rich man. Yeah, you don't have to take any more wage cuts. You was on the big money before when you signed for Atletico Madrid. You've been taking cut after cut after cut. You want to bring your money up. I get you. And the second thing I can promise is that your international spot now is guaranteed, because, you know, bro, one little phone call and I can make anything happen back in Portugal. So I think this is why Felix, at 25 years old, has probably decided to make the move to Al Nassr. Now, from the club perspective, from us, this is a big win. This is a big bonus, because, you know, there could be an interesting conversation around Chelsea's transfer policy, right, in terms of how we do business and do things. But one thing that we just have to be honest about is that the recruitment policy does have some pros and cons. It can be a waste of footballing time when a player doesn't necessarily make it. But compared to back in the day where, you know, it was still normal to have signings not become successes, it was harder to get rid of them because, you know, clubs would take too long, or the wages were too prohibitive, or there were many variables and factors working against a quick exit from the club. And that's one thing these guys aren't wasting any time with, and it's definitely worked in our favor for sure. So I think Joao Felix is definitely a massive win for the football club, because his sale now means that we can reinvest those funds now into tying down Xavi Simons ASAP. Al Nassr are essentially giving us an offer that could even be better than the money that we paid Atletico to sign Joao Felix. Deep that for a second. We know that it's around 52 million euros as like a total package. I think that's 30 million euros upfront, with an additional 20 million in add-ons with sell-on clause potential, which means that realistically, Felix is probably likely to get another cross transfer to another Saudi club in the next few years. We could get additional money from that sell-on clause, because it's supposed to be quite significant. So this is a good all-round move for us. And let's say the football club only decided to sign Joao Felix as a superb investment. The money we've got from him from his loan spell at AC Milan last season, his wages being subsidized, even buying him from Atleti and getting him to like nearly reduce his salary by half here to sign for us. We've made even more money from Joao Felix than Atletico Madrid thought was ever possible. And I think that's pretty insane when you kind of just respect the business for what it is, right? So Joao Felix, he is making that move to Al Nassr. I don't think the Saudi League is like a disgrace. I think the Saudi clubs show themselves up during the Club World Cup. They put respect on that league. It's not just an early retirement league where players can M up and make generational money. There is strong footballing values and competition in that league. So Felix still has to move correctly and play properly and do his thing right. And I do think now that he's going to Al Nassr, it'll be interesting to see him playing in behind Cristiano Ronaldo, which is probably guaranteeing him his international spot, which he probably needs, as Portugal have a lot of top talents coming through right now. You know, even the wide players like your Netos, your Rafael Leaos, guys like Moura, you know, Neves's, Viti. There's so much talent right now that I don't think Felix's spot was as guaranteed as it could have been, right? So that is all the news surrounding this deal. But I kind of want to talk about why Joao Felix didn't make it here. I want to give my thoughts and real opinions on this player. Now, I want to share my thoughts on Joao Felix. And I have to say, I feel like this move to Al Nassr continues the bad career choices that Felix keeps on making. I think his career is going to be studied. Of course, the potential he first showcased as a teenager. I mean, this is like pure 5-6 star stuff. This guy was going to be seen as one of the players of his generation because he was doing ridiculous things at Benfica at a young age. Yeah, I mean, you're doing like double digits for like goal assist contributions, right? As a teenager in one of the top 7 leagues in the world. That is going to make you take notice. That is going to put you on the attention of all the biggest clubs across the world. And I think the reason why Felix did not achieve that potential, which I think, listen, if you haven't showcased it by now, you're never going to showcase it. The chances that he comes back, I don't know. It could be the first time as fans we've ever seen a guy reclaim his potential back in his late 30s. But it doesn't work like that. Not at this level. Not when other guys are going up that trajectory path and you haven't gone up with them. You've kind of stalled off and done your own thing, yeah? Joao Felix has not achieved his potential because wrong decision after wrong decision after wrong decision at the wrong time. And personally, I felt like making that move to Benfica for your career right now would have done it more justice compared to getting the easy route going to Al Nassr. I'm just going to be brutally fair. Al Nassr, of course, the quality there is not as bad as we first thought. It is good. But it's also just the easy way out, you know? You're away from the limelight. This is clearly more of like a lifestyle move. This is clearly more of a financial move compared to going back to an environment that was going to create those footballing foundations for you. That saw you as the centerpiece of their project. He did the same thing in January when Aston Villa wanted to sign him. He could have been playing in behind Ollie Watkins. Yeah? He could have been part of an Aston Villa team that actually tactically require players who are able to carry the ball centrally. Like the football tactically was there for him to cook and do his thing. But he told himself Aston Villa wasn't a very exciting name, even though he would have got CL football, and thought AC Milan kind of fits the image, the aura of the type of institution that Joao Felix should be representing. And it was the complete wrong move for him because yet again he's gone back to a team where they didn't have the strongest identity. Milan started the season playing one way and ended up playing a completely different other way, and Felix just never really suited or complemented anything after making a promising debut. He keeps on doing this and doing this and doing this. I've said it and I'm going to keep saying it. Joao Felix had to be a bit humble. He had to realize and tell himself, you know what? I know that I've got confidence in my game. I back myself, yeah? I know that I can make it to the top, but I have to be humble. Yeah, I have to be humble and I need to take that step down a level. And it's not like he's taking a step down to a relegated club, right? Or bottom half team. He's literally just going down the traditional, like, you know, PR branded football clubs that every football fan knows off by heart, because you're prioritizing playing. You're prioritizing what's best for yourself. And I think this is why I feel so strongly with my opinion, because I feel like I understand what Joao Felix is, as I've seen this guy throughout his whole career. A player like Joao Felix, they do things on the cuff. They're given a lot of freedom to express themselves because they're game changers. They're the type of players that can switch things up on a fly and do things other players can't do. They're the type of players where they have a ridiculous wide variety of techniques, from shooting to passing to dribbling. And my thing's always been this: when you're a football player, when any single moment of a game you can do like any 10 actions all at once, how do you pick the best one? How do you go to doing the best one? Yeah, you can only do that when you've been able to get fine-tuned, when you've been given that proper license and environment to grow, to make some of those mistakes in your formative years, and naturally due to your ability and your football IQ, you then make sense of these moments a lot better. If that makes sense with you guys. I'd always give this example between a Joao Felix and a Cole Palmer. You know, Cole Palmer in that final against Paris Saint-Germain, you know, let's remember that first effort, which could have been 1-0. Beautiful sequence of play. Joao Pedro, instant backheel flick like he's been playing with Palmer his whole career. And Palmer goes for the Hollywood effort. Top bins. Top left bins. Does it go in? No. But I saw his reaction in that game and he looked frustrated with himself. Why? Because he was like, you know what? I should have bagged this. I should have done justice to this entire move, to my teammates and to myself, if I kept it simple. And the funny thing is, the 2 goals he scored against Paris Saint-Germain were the 2 identical finishes. Because that is the difference between a Cole Palmer and a Joao Felix. Cole Palmer puts the team first. Yeah? He'll do the simple things first that ensure the results. He's responsible for his team like that and for himself. And once he's done that, as the game goes on, you then see how he showcases his flair. He goes for more ambitious attempts. He has more fun on the field. And you know why he's going to go to even higher levels? Because he is keeping things efficient. And through efficiency, when you've mastered that, that's when you can start to express yourself even more. And I'm telling you guys, over the next like 3-4 years, you're going to see some of Cole Palmer's best ever goals he scored for us. You're going to see Cole Palmer showcasing things that look stupidly easy because he has mastered the basics. And this is the opposite of Joao Felix, because Felix, as I've always noticed, he attempts the most difficult action every single time and it don't come off. And when you're a player that is literally built off expression, you know, turning games on a fly, you know, playing with that type of creativity, and you're not getting rewarded from some of these actions, it's just going to kill your confidence even more. It's going to kill it even more. It's going to hurt you even more. And I think this is exactly why he kind of ended his loan spell at AC Milan in a very pitiful fashion, in a very pitiful manner. And at 25 years old, yeah, Felix should be at a level that most players can't even dream to catch. Like, once upon a time, Florian Wirtz was saying, Joao Felix, who was only like a few years ahead of me, he is a guy I'm looking at as a footballing role model, because he was literally the definition of wonder's superstar kid. Could have been one of the legends that you remember in the game for a long time. But I feel like he'll have to kind of look back at his career and he'll have to kind of blame himself, maybe his team and the actions, because they prioritize the wrong things at the wrong time. And it's kind of fitting, right? It's kind of ironic that those career decisions also kind of reflects his footballing decisions, in my opinion. It's a shame, you know. I've really believed in Joao Felix. I think the guy has innate unique abilities to himself, but you know, I just can't maybe get over my frustration that he has not done more. You know, I understand there's going to be some Chelsea fans that are like, Nini, come on, let's keep things real. Like, Felix hasn't performed at a 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10 level. We've seen worse players consistently produce F4, and that is more than fair. That is, you know, even last season under Maresca, even though Maresca, as we know, didn't want him, you know, didn't ask for him. And that was the main reason behind Felix and his team realizing they had to go, was because of that situation. He still produced moments, you know, the Conference League. A part of us would always think he could have just remained with us, still kept cooking in the Conference League, and we still would have won it regardless, right? And maybe it would have been a bit easier selling him on after something like that. Who knows? Who knows? But he did have decent spells, you know, the goals versus Southampton. Of course, his goal against Wolves, that brilliant team move, actually we're not going to forget. And Pedro Neto was setting him up, and Felix, emphatic finish, top left bins. You know, we thought, okay, this guy's come back. Are we going to see the very best Joao Felix? But outside of those types of moments, I just didn't feel like at his age he was someone that could control the game. And I think that's the disappointing thing. Outside of flashes of particular brilliance or moments of ingenuity, they were just flashes. It wasn't a consistent disruption of a game. It wasn't a consistent control. You weren't the main guy teams were really putting a lot of focus on. Instead, you were the player the opposition realized you would be a liability off the ball. You'd be a liability on the ball sometimes because you'll get caught out in silly areas on the field where, you're given that license where you can receive from the halfway line. But if it's like a 5 out of 10 possibility that you could lose the ball from trying like a silly skill or a silly half turn or not focusing enough, you become a liability for the team, right? And I think they're the reasons why maybe Enzo Maresca wasn't quite feeling him in the end and realized, if this Chelsea team are going to go to the next level, it's going to be because we move on players like Joao Felix in a real way, you know what I mean? So it's a shame, but it's also a reality. And I kind of realized, even though he was like one of my personal favorite players of the last few years, if you guys been watching me, I was ecstatic for this move. I was open-minded again when he made the repeat coming back to the football club. I was like, oh, you know what I mean? It's Joao Felix, the hype, the vision, the potential. I'm gonna be a believer. I'm gonna keep believing in this guy. But reality has to set in after a while. And football really works like this, man. Players like this, if you haven't broken in and made it by 24, 25, because listen, for these guys who are seen as the upper echelon of youth talents, these guys become world class at 21, 22, 23. If they're not world class by those ages, it's not going to happen realistically, right? And it's just the admission from Felix and his team. If they accepted the fact that, realistically, outside of Benfica, you might not be getting a big move into Europe again. Go to Al Nassr, you'll be there for at least a year minimum. Benfica and clubs will be options for you again in the future. So don't forget about them details. Fair enough, but I don't know. You've had these moments where help was there for you and you didn't take them. Aston Villa was the moment last season. You flopped it. And I think Benfica, with what they were looking to do in terms of really just making the centerpiece tactically at the football club in an environment he knows, this would have been the best soft launch for you, to be able to find your footballing instincts again. Because this is what it comes down to with players like Felix. It's all about their instincts, their feel. When that's disrupted, which has been disrupted based on getting inconsistent minutes, based on playing in different positions, sometimes on the left, sometimes as an 8-10, sometimes as a 10, sometimes up front. There's no consistency in which he can really influence and control the game. And this has been the story of his career now for the last 3.5 years. And I think this has been the major negative that's really hurt his ability to unlock this potential that he did have once upon a time. So I don't know. I feel like the move to Al Nassr is an admission that he knows that he won't be that guy again. Fair enough. It's a short career. It's a hard one. Being one of the top players in the world, you need so many factors going your way outside of just having the ability, right? And listen, once upon a time, if he never made that move to Atleti, if he decided to remain at Benfica for one more season, yeah, and maybe wait for Guardiola, who loved him at the time, to go to a Man City, a manager like Guardiola would have unlocked the real Joao Felix at the most pivotal stage of his young career, yeah? Maybe it's a good thing it never happened because it could be long for all of us right now. And I'm sure it is in some different alternate universe. But I can't help but feeling like, some responsibility has to go his way. Career decision choices. And he's going to be a real lesson for a lot of agents and other players who will be in similar positions to Felix to watch out for in the future. So that's everything, Joao Felix. My honest thoughts and opinions. Share your opinions on Felix. Do you think he can come back? Do you think it's over? Do you think the club could have done more for him? Let us know how you feel, and I'll catch you guys soon.